Matthew, we heard your battle cry last week. Hail Commanders, hail cover, as you took the points on FF pregame. Commanders blowing out the Chargers. I'm going to take the Bears and the points. Let's do a dinner bet on the line for Bears and Commanders Monday night.
Don't I? How many dinners does he owe me already? At some point, I'm gonna have to eat with him for like a week. No, I think he's 2 dinners into me now. Sure, George, I'll have. You haven't paid off any of the other dinner bets that we've had, but sure.
Fantasy Football Pregame with Matthew Berry.
Misinformation from Matthew Berry. Have not lost any dinner bets to you this year. I actually won one off Jay when I took the Commanders with Marcus Mariota and tailed Matthew's bet. Cool. And then how sweet was that victory? My Bears actually pulling through on Monday night. Jay Croucher, Lawrence Jackson, George Savaricas, and the man who just suffered another brutal L at 0-6 now in the League of Assholes.
This is our first time seeing
Barrett.
each other
It
since that game, right? Oh.
And I wanted to text, I wanted to tweet, and I said, I'll just save it in person to see this face right here, Week 7 on Fantasy Football Pregame.
You know what, George? You know what you're like? What you're like is somebody that finds a dollar bill on the ground and suddenly thinks he's a millionaire. Oh, so wow. I mean, the fact that your Bears managed to pick up a fumble, an unforced fumble by the Commanders, brutal loss by Washington, but you guys didn't win. We lost. There's a difference there.
That's it.
We had the lead.
We had
the lead in the ball.
The excuse alert's already on the
We had the lead in the ball with 2.5 minutes to go, and we had an unforced fumble. We lost the game.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
A lot of lost games in that NFL.
We lost that game.
Patriots didn't come back from 28-3. Falcons lost it.
Sunday parlay. LJ is rocking Atlanta hat. Check -350. Yeah, Jay's wearing a hoodie, -225. Ankles has a jacket, -150. The Savler makes his return, +200. Nice.
I'm not sure. I have to tell you, in the history of this show, I'm going to reject a lure nickname. Savler is brutal.
It's
not good.
We can do better.
It's awful.
We can do much better.
Medici, who had risen so high on the regulars rankings, now desperately clinging onto others receiving votes.
I think it's because he didn't use enough of his last name. His last name's Savaricas, and he just has Sav.
Yeah.
How about the when I played football with Savo, so I get I've had this short
too.
Yeah, it should be like the foundation lure for the awful makeup that you're wearing in that pregame.
Wasn't wearing any makeup.
Oh my God! Well,
makeup free.
I'm just glad George has a normal face because the way that video is looking, we've already got one half Asian guy on the show, and George is looking to make it
Hashtag
two.
no filter.
We want your questions throughout the show. FF pregame. We'll also dive into the chat. Love to see where the power rankings are with the. Over on the excuseler today for sure from Ryan Oswald. I'm buying that 100%. Why don't you kick us off with a toast, Matthew?
I will. Listen, where's Trista? Trista can't come back soon enough. No, all right. So actual toast here. Although it's going to be a long 2 hours. I just realized that with F and George here. All right. My toast
Sadler.
is, so while we're not thrilled, to be honest with you, we're honestly not thrilled that George is back. I am thrilled that CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, George Kittle, all of them, Rashee Rice, all these superstars are back. Chuba Hubbard is back, the Chubler Jr. So anyway, welcome back to all these fantasy superstars. It's been a long time. We've missed you. We're excited to get you back in our lineups to this weekend. So because Ravens plays Monday night. So anyway, toast to all those superstars returning.
Can't wait to have producer Steven edit that where it just says the George part for Kittle. Then it seems like a very genuine toast. Over to you, Jay.
Okay. I'll have a genuine toast for Mike Vrabel. Who's 4-2. On top of the AFC East, and then he goes back to Tennessee. A bit of an unceremonious departure from the Titans, but Mike Vrabel's a 7-point favorite on the road in Tennessee. Patriots rolling. Drake May looking like at least an MVP ballot type of quarterback. So I'll toast to Mike Vrabel, who seems to have turned things around in New England.
Let's go.
Right on. Look, my toast is going to go to the Panthers and the Jets because for one of those teams, something great's going to happen for you today. For the Panthers, if you win, it'll be the first time the Panthers have been over 500 since Week 5 of the 2019 season.
That's insane.
Back when they had CMC. That is crazy, right? And if the Jets win, you just get your first win of this season. So toast to the Panthers or the Jets, may the best team win, which look like the Panthers right now.
Both the Jets and Matthew Berry looking for their first win in Week 7.
Oh, and I got a little bonus toast right here.
I'm calling Matthew Berry the Josh Reynolds of fantasy.
Wow.
Bonus toast to my youngest daughter, Amani, who we got a little score yesterday right here.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, here we go.
Wow.
We had a little defense. We fight through the defense.
Wow.
And
All
we
on a string.
hit the touch shot in there.
Messi Jr.
Oh,
Yeah.
we in there. So
like
toast to my youngest daughter, Amani. We
Like
love
a young
you.
Samantha Kerr.
Yeah, exactly. Goalie took a bad angle there. Goalie took a bad angle, but yeah.
It's huge.
She was just so confused.
Unbelievable.
Like, are you related to that goalie?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, sorry, Monty.
Really tender moment, and you just had to defecate on it.
I feel like that's it was less about you. They lost as opposed to your daughter's team winning. That's what it felt like.
I will tell you this.
Wow.
I'll tell you this.
Insane
That
stance
goal,
to take.
that goal only tied the game.
Okay.
And so it kept us from actually being losers, so we don't have to be excuseless.
Yeah, fair enough.
There
you go.
The game ended in a tie.
Yes. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. What's your daughter's team name?
They change it every week. It's
really?
weird. This week they was the Mermaids.
Okay.
1 week they was the Blue Blazers, the Blueberries, because they got blue shirts.
Yeah, sure.
So they don't really have a name. They just change it every week. So this past week they were the Mermaids. So.
All right. Well, shout out to the Mermaids. Congratulations on the non-loss.
Yes, very non-loss.
Yes.
Very heartfelt.
Yes.
Mine's to Mac Jones, who's looked good for the 49ers, averaging 313 passing yards per game. If you extrapolated that over a full season, he'd be leading the NFL in passing yardage. If they get a win this week, I think small sample size, he's shown enough to maybe get a shot next season as a starting job or at least in a training camp battle. So it's been the rebirth of Mac Jones so far early in 2025.
All right. Yeah. Hold on.
Let's get an update.
So I like that you just sort of sit there, Jay, and just judge everyone. All right, well done. Not good. Yeah, the judgler.
The judgler, 100%.
Yeah.
Judge Croucher.
I was stupefied at the stance to take against Amani's goal. That was one of the most uncontroversial things we've ever done. It's like, bad goalkeeping.
As the Patriots dynasty with Bill Belichick knows, when you win, they don't like you.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of them.
London
They
game.
didn't win. They tied.
Right now, blowout. 21-0 Rams at the half.
No reason to watch it.
Devontae, yeah, exactly. Flip it off. Devontae Adams, 2 touchdowns already. We figured he'd get a lot of the target share with Puka Nacua out. He's been balling out so far. And Matthew Stafford, how about him slinging it? 127 yards, 3 touchdowns at the break, Matthew.
He's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm done with
Sitting on my
Trevor
bench.
Lawrence. I'm done with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Every year we do this. Trevor Lawrence is Geno Smith with longer hair. That's
Probably, you might be right. You might absolutely be right there. Yeah, it's been
every year we do this with Trevor.
I don't understand. It's such a flip-flop with guys like Trevor Lawrence and guys like Joe Flacco. 1 week we love him. The next week it's like, man, this here they go.
I don't think he's terrible. He's not a terrible quarterback. He's just a slightly below average NFL starting quarterback.
Yeah, he's
that's
fine.
fair.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's a middle-of-the-pack
that.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's paid like a top 5 guy.
Indeed.
Is the issue of the Jaguars.
Yeah.
All right.
Early injury list. Let's dive right into it.
Sure.
Guys that we're keeping an eye on and players that are already ruled out. Brock Purdy out. Bucky Irving, it's been a multi-week injury now, foot and shoulder. Ricky Pearsall, the knee, he's out. Chris Godwin, who had briefly come back week 5, battling that fibula. How about your 2 commanders? You're going 1, 2, 3 on the depth chart, all out for this game, Matthew.
Yeah, obviously, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, both out of the game. It's going to be Chris Moore, Luke McCaffrey out there. Zach Ertz likely to play. He's banged up, though, as well. So it'll be interesting to see who Jaden Daniels can get the ball to in what should be a shootout against the Cowboys.
The walking wounded for Washington reports DeAndre Swift with that groin injury should be a go for the Bears. Jacoby Myers and the Raiders, something to monitor. Stephon Diggs with that chest injury. Garrett Wilson, Brock Bowers, both likely out. We have Kyler Murray highlighted, says questionable, but Matthew, reports are that he won't be going. It'll be Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I mean, his official designation is questionable, but NFL Network reporting that Jacoby Brissett will start. So even if, quote-unquote, Kyler Murray is active, we would think it'd be in an emergency role as a backup role. Jacoby Brissett is going to be the starter there as well. Josh Jacobs, Jacoby Myers, 2 true game-time decisions. The other ones, we sort of went off that screen quickly, but the other ones...
Emeka Egbuka's one.
Emeka Egbuka looked like he potentially could play. We'll dive into that. Trending towards playing. Mike Evans expected to play. Coffee Shop, spelled differently. I like that. Need help start 2. Half PPR. Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift. QJ officially off the injury report. And Travis Kelce. So I think Kelsey's always, but I think this is a big Rashee Rice game, and we're going to get into this in a second. So for me, I think, assuming he is active, it's DeAndre Swift and Quentin Johnson. That Colts secondary, especially on the perimeter, Jay, is super banged up.
Yep, down 5 players at corner. Charvarius Ward on IR as well, which is tough. His second concussion of the year. Kenny Moore is back, which helps, but he's just one man, so they're in trouble.
Yeah. By the way, you know what we should have done? I wish I'd known.
Why are we clapping?
No, I'm thinking here.
Charvarius Ward on IR?
Yes. No.
That's very bad for the Colts. Definitely not good.
We should. If I'd known we were showing that video of your daughter there, we would have had her drink Kool-Aid for free or whatever, or an appropriate drink, an age-appropriate drink.
Are you trying to make amends after you said it was poor goalkeeping and now sending his daughter?
That's right.
Have a lemonade stand where she drinks for free?
I'm just thinking out loud.
It's okay.
I'm just thinking out loud.
It's one day she'll be back on this set to confront you, Matthew.
She can.
And she was.
I adore your daughter. Absolutely, she can.
Hey, look,
absolutely, she can.
She watches this show she's legit with this football stuff. She watches this show every Sunday, man. She got her own fantasy team.
Does she really?
Yeah, she do. I don't make any other moves, and so it's just like, hey, she's starting Justin Fields today with Lamar on the bye.
I like it. I like the call. I like the call. And I'll say this to the national TV audience. I like your daughter. I've met her before. We've met her before. Hang on. No. Let me finish the sentence.
What a hot take.
No. I like Lawrence's daughter more than all 3 of Jay's daughters. Just so you know, in terms of the power rankings of the kids on the show.
Yeah,
just so you know.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, the controversial thing is I actually like Lawrence's daughter more than my daughters as well. Yeah. And if we want to talk trade, with Lamar on bye week.
Jake Esty says she probably has a better record than Matthew, too.
That's fair.
That is true.
That's a good term.
She'd almost have to.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
To our burning questions. And we're going to kick it off. Top games preview, the 2-4 Raiders. This is a big number, plus 11.5 at Kansas City. The surging Chiefs at 500, 3-3, trying to get over 500. The over-under 45.5 is Rashee Rice an auto start his first game back.
Yes, he's an auto start. What do we just like all of us waiting for Rashee Rice to get back. So has Patrick Mahomes been patiently waiting to get Rashee Rice back. You think about the 3 games he played last year, those 3 full games. He had almost a 34% target share, and he is their best wide receiver, bar none. Mahomes is kind of going scorched earth these days. He looks awesome. It's an unbelievable matchup against a Raiders defense that's bottom 6 in terms of most fantasy points allowed to wide receivers, most yards allowed to wide receivers. And I just think Mahomes, as a quarterback, you sort of start thinking about mentality. You want to get your guys kind of engaged. And so I think they will make an effort to get the ball to Rice, kind of, hey, welcome back. We've missed you. Let's get you going. I think he's going to – I think you'll see Worthy on the outside, and you'll have some Kelce there. But Rashee Rice is going to be inside and out and kind of play he's going to play basically the Juju Smith-Schuster role on this offense, the big slot. But he's going to be, a billion times better. I think he's their best wide receiver.
Yeah, and if you have Rashee Rice waiting for this long, regardless of what your record is in your league, why would you not start him after waiting 6 games to have him? You throw him in the lineup.
He's not coming off injury. He looked fully healthy in training camp.
Yeah. I might tell you, there might be a little bit of an adjustment period, given he hasn't played in the NFL for a year. I mean, he's set at 67.5 receiving yards, which is like a Monra St. Brown territory. Yeah. I think Rashee Rice, I think you got to start him. I'd take the under on that because I think that's baking in he's 100% Rashee Rice for sure, which I don't think we can have that total certainty.
I'd actually take the over on that.
I'd take the under because I still think first game back.
Yeah.
You got Hollywood, Juju, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce.
Like 2 touchdown favorites.
Yeah.
This is the thing. He played in the preseason. He played the first drive of the last preseason game and scored a touchdown with the first team up. I think he's ready.
Let's get to the question. KC Gilbert patiently waiting bench one. Rice, Evans, or JCM?
As much as I'm excited about Mike Evans here, again, he's expected to return, but that's the Monday night game. I would bench Evans. I don't want to risk it. Yeah. So I don't want to bench one of those guys and risk that maybe Evans doesn't go. Yeah. And plus, by the way, now that there is reports that Emeka Egbuka could, in fact, actually play. And so, I mean, Evans is still normally an automatic start, but of those 3 guys, I just think Rice and JCM, Bill Krosky-Merritt gets so much work. KC Gilbert, that Evans would be who I would bench in that particular case. And somebody, by the way, I'm going to ask the regulars a favor here, but for those of you that have been watching the show for a while, right, I am 100% positive you and I have made multiple dinner bets that I have won. Whether it was Commanders over the Bears last year.
Oh, yeah,
I think
we didn't bet that.
Yeah, we did. And our fantasy matchup last year, which I beat you in, in the regular season.
Let's have someone watch the tape.
Just somebody, somebody pay attention.
Because I think you only remember imaginary bets that you, quote unquote, won versus all the bets you've lost.
Stop it.
Clark Brady will do it. He'll do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody figure it out. The bartender. That's pretty good.
I love that one.
The bartender's pretty good.
That's up there. Ted McMillan, Ken Walker, Rashee Rice. Which 2 get the start?
Definitely Rashee Rice for me, and honestly, I think it's Ted McMillan. I get that he's going to be. Look, Ken Walker. The concern here. Okay, first off, Seattle's playing Houston. Over the past 4 months, there hasn't been a run defense in the NFL better than the Houston Texans. They're off a bye. Walker's splitting time with Zach Charbonnet. Now, I get the concern with Tirico McMillan that he's going to be shadowed by Sauce Gardner, but guys, I don't think Sauce is
I'm about to say that don't really too much concern.
He was good against Sutton last week, and he's been up and down this year.
He's been inconsistent.
He's been inconsistent, but I don't think he's not the Sauce of old.
No, he's not Patrick Surtain.
No.
And I think that the bigger concern for me with Ted McMillan is that I think going forward, the Panthers might be the lowest passing volume team in the NFL because of what they've got going with their offensive line, now having this 2-headed monster of Uncle Rico and the junior Chubler. Yeah. So that would be my concern with Ted. Yeah. He's still going to be the number 1 receiving option.
He is, but they have turned Bryce Young into a game manager.
Yeah.
Which is what you need to do.
They'll need touchdown passes. As you see last week, Bryce Young threw the 3 touchdowns, but under 200 yards passing.
Yeah, and you figure, the Panthers defense has started to play better, for sure, and given the struggles of the Jets offense without Garrett Wilson, they may not need a bunch of points to win in this one. All that said, so I agree with everything you just said. Are you starting for our guy here? Are you starting Ken Walker over Tirico McMillan?
No, because of the matchup against Houston's defense, which is one of the best in the NFL, and also just the continued Charbonnet just continues to exist, and he's going to get a lot of work. So I would start Rice and Ted as well.
Get into that Panthers game. They're trying to get over 500. They are road favorites. Who would have thought this at the beginning of the season that this matchup they'd be favored by 1.5 over the winless Jets, over under 40.5. The big question with the Jets, are you still starting Justin Fields and Breece Hall after last week's complete and utter debacle? Let's start with you, Jay.
I think you have to start Justin Fields because of the rushing upside. I understand that last week was a travesty, but it was going up against the Broncos, who probably have the best defense in football. The concern with Fields is his short leash, right? If he doesn't play well in the first half, there's a material chance that he would get benched. But I think just because of the upside, because of the matchup, because the game's hovering around pick, it should be competitive. I think you have to start Justin Fields, and then by the same token, Breece Hall, you have to start him. Who else is on the offense? They have to run out guys who can accumulate yards, and it's going to be Breece Hall and then Mason Taylor and then pretty much nothing else, I think.
Breece has been good this year.
Yeah, and he's looked healthier. He's looked more explosive than he has the past 2 years.
And the other thing is again, we know how much he's involved in the passing attack. Panthers have actually given up a receiving touchdown to a running back each of the past 2 weeks. Breece Hall, believe it or not, made the love list this week. I think it's because of the massive workload, as you just pointed out, Jay. It's worth noting that 3 of the last 4 running backs to see at least 15 touches against these Panthers have scored at least 16 fantasy points. I get it. You're sitting there and you're like, am I really starting Justin Fields after what I saw last week? It is risk-reward territory, there's no question, but I have him as a top 10 play today. I just think Carolina will struggle to get pressure. I think there's no way that Fields is as bad as he was last year, and because there's no Garrett Wilson, I think that's a positive for Justin Fields' fantasy outlook, not necessarily the Jets to win this game, but I think he will be much more likely to duck and run. Yeah. And so, like, if Justin Fields has 80 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in this game, that would not shock me. He's become their goal line back in some ways. It's either Breece Hall or designed runs for Justin Fields.
And you talk about both of these guys, Breece Hall and Justin Fields. Breece Hall, despite last week, 2 of his last 3 games, he's had double-digit fantasy points. Justin Fields, including last week against the Broncos, he still enters this week as a top 12 quarterback on the season. Entering last week, he had a higher passer rating than Mahomes, Herbert, Jaden Daniels. So that one game was ugly, but they don't have to play the Broncos anymore. So from a fantasy perspective, I would start Justin Fields. And actually, I'm not really doing it like, oh, I'm scared. You just kind of like, okay, let's see how it goes.
He's been the ultimate boomer bust because he's had 5 games against the Bills and Broncos. He had single-digit points. The other 3 games, he was a top 5 quarterback that week. And you would think against the Panthers, it's more likely he has a good game versus.
One other thing, it's a little grim, but a lot of QB rushing value, or why it gets suppressed, is self-preservation. Like Patrick Mahomes runs more in the playoffs because he doesn't care as much about getting hurt. Justin Fields might be playing for his career today. Yeah. Like, he's not going to hold back on that front.
Correct. That's a good point.
So
that's a very good point.
On Happy Hour, we heard you guys breaking down. I'm talking Matthew and Jay, the Carolina backfield. It was 50-50, 60-40. What's your read on how it's going to look between Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, Lawrence?
60-40, I was going to say 50-50.
Okay.
I just think it's so hard to deny what Rico Dowdle's done these past 2 weeks. It'd have been different if he had 2 100-yard rushing games, but the dude is putting up 200 yards from scrimmage every time he goes out. And now you have a matchup against the Jets where their defense isn't as inspiring as it used to be. So it's like, how do we take him off the field when he's been so dominant, not only as a runner, but as a receiver too? But for Chuba Hubbard on the other side, he's just been hurt. He hasn't been ineffective to this point. He just hasn't been able to stay on the field. So I would say 50-50. Not much different than the 60-40, I feel like.
Jeremy Fowler reporting that at least early on they're expected to split series, that Rico Dowdle will get a series and then Chuba Hubbard will get a series. I think until we see differently, I think you're starting Rico Dowdle. Just so you guys have a sense here, Dowdle's my running back 16, Hubbard is running back 32. So I think Dowdle is a mid-tier RB2 and Hubbard is a somewhat risky flex just because we haven't seen it. Sergeant Hoorah.
Hooah!
Hooah!
There you go.
I got that. Like,
yeah.
Need help going against the number 1 seed who had Jamar Chase. So down bad. PPR Superflex pick 2. Chuba Hubbard, Rico, the Rattler. Ratty Ice. I also have great ankles.
That's the most important part.
Game respects game.
Yeah. It's got to be Rattler and Rico.
Gotta go Rattler. And then Rico.
Yeah.
He's hot right now.
Yeah. I like the reporting that the Panthers are studying what the Seahawks do with Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet to how to utilize these two. It's like, you have teams have 2 running backs for all the time. Why are we studying this? It sounds like Joe Mazzulla going over to England to study Manchester City. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you've got 2 running backs, just use them both.
Right, just hand the running, hand
novel
the ball,
concept.
block well, and hand it to one of them.
Yeah,
it's not. It's not tough.
Let's break down your Commanders, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
3-3, big game here. 1.5-point dogs at the 2-3-1 Dallas Cowboys. Highest point total of any game this week. Implied game total 54.5. So can you start any Washington pass catchers with McLaurin and Debo out?
Can you? Sure. Sure, you have the ability to. You just have to click, start. Should you? It's a different look. I think it's going to be a little bit of a committee. Like, I have Chris Moore ranked higher than Luke McCaffrey. I have Moore at 35 and McCaffrey at 45. You'll see some Jalen Lane, their rookie that they like a lot as well in this mix. No team's allowed more fantasy points to opposing wide receivers than the Cowboys. They've given up 12 touchdowns to wide receivers. So I think that McCaffrey was actually on kind of a hot streak with the touchdowns. Both these guys are sort of interesting sleepers, but they're deeper league sleepers. And I think you'll see Jaden Daniels have a big game here. I think they'll lean on the running game, some Zach Ertz as well. It's worth noting that last week in a game where a lot of these guys were banged up, still with Debo though, 25% target share for Zach Ertz. In 3 games where he's gotten at least a 17% target share, and he should easily clear that in this one, he's averaging over 15 fantasy points per game. He's a little bit banged up, But I do think Zach Ertz is a tight end one this week, and we all love Bill Krosky-Merritt.
Self-proclamation here, I am Josh Douglas. I challenge you, gentlemen. Is anyone bold enough to play Luke McCaffrey over Diggs or Golden half-point PPR with 100-yard bonuses? Anyone?
Wow, he's very fired
Not
up.
over,
I like it, Josh.
not over Diggs.
Diggs.
I could see the argument for Golden. I probably wouldn't do that.
I don't
because
accept
especially
the
when you got 100-yard bonuses. When you have 100-yard bonuses, Matthew Golden just feels much more likely to get there than Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, as does Diggs.
Obviously.
Yeah. So, no, Diggs is the play.
Yeah, we're not. No one here is bold enough.
Challenge not accepted.
Lacking in boldness.
Yep.
Respect the question, though. How much?
That's all right.
Fair enough.
Okay,
That's all right.
He's the number one wide receiver
Yeah, of course, it's fair.
for a top 7 quarterback.
Yeah.
It's a respectable question.
Another cheap shot at the regulars here.
He's related to Christian McCaffrey.
How much does the return of CeeDee Lamb impact Pickens and Ferguson, who have been taken off the last few weeks?
For our purposes, none whatsoever. And by that I mean is
None.
that, yes, none. For our purposes, none whatsoever. You're starting George Pickens, you're starting Jake Ferguson. It does not matter. For our purposes,
Understood.
it does not matter that CeeDee Lamb. I cannot imagine a scenario where you're saying, oh, George Pickens,
Right.
you've been the hottest wide receiver in football the last 3 weeks, but you go down. Jake Ferguson, you're like a top 3 fantasy tight end, look, make no mistake, he had a 15% target share with Lamb there. He was just basically wide receiver 33 versus what he's been the best wide receiver in fantasy football since week 3. So I get that, right? And Jake Ferguson's been the best tight end in fantasy since week number 4. But again, I'm still starting. I think their target share goes down a little bit on each case, but I think they also do different things. Lamb is much more about the middle of the field, and they move them all over. Pickens is going to be deep shots. I think you sort of have this high-low. It's a secondary that does not scare you at all. My Commanders are terrible. Ferguson is always a red zone threat. So Dak Prescott, who we've talked about, if their team was better, he legitimately would be the MVP or be one of the favorites for the MVP. The problem is that
it's like Burrow last year.
Yes, it's like Burrow last year. Dak has played at an unbelievable level. This is a great matchup for him. And so getting my guy 8, CeeDee Lamb, back should be good. I'm starting all of them without question.
Sneaking in a question because we respect the regulars. And if you're top 10 in the power rankings, then I'm going to bump you up to an immediate question. Johnny Dangerly, who's ranked number 2, pick 1 flex, JCM, Jordan Mason, Kayshon Boutte, 10-team PPR.
JCM, Jordan, it's JCM.
This is for our guy, Johnny Dangerly.
Yeah, it's either him or Mason. I like the matchup against the Eagles. The Eagles don't scare me defensively, obviously.
No, they're poor against the run. Aaron Jones still out.
Aaron Jones is still out, and I could see them wanting to go run heavy here. I just think the Eagles are off of the mini bye. They played the last Thursday night game against the Giants. They were embarrassed by Cam Scatterbo. So I think there's probably more of an effort to. I would rather have
Jalen Carter too.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather face the Cowboys defense than the Eagles defense, even though the Eagles aren't good. And so they're both getting a similar workload. And I'd rather have my running back on a team quarterback by Jaden Daniels than a team quarterback by Carson Wentz, even though it's a hashtag revenge game for Carson Wentz against the Birds. So I think the answer for Johnny Dangerly is Bill Krosky-Merritt.
Agreed.
Okay, final game. The Colts at 5-1. They're trying to get to 6-1 for the first time since Peyton Manning was under center, which is a wild stat. But they are 2.5-point road dogs at the 4-2 LA Chargers over under 48.5 after the big breakout from Kamani Vidal last week. Jay, is he in the trust tree?
It's not in the trust tree. I think you feel confident enough starting him, but I would make my expectations more of an RB2 type than what he served up against Miami. Miami have been one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. The Colts are they're not super imposing, but they're much more competent. And I think as well, the way to attack this Indianapolis team is through the air with their lack of corners, and also no Joe Alt. This could be the worst offensive line in football in terms of their blocking. So Kamani Vidal, I would start him pretty much in any league, but I wouldn't expect the greatness that you got last week.
What you want to see is if he gets that same type of, if he plays the same amount of snaps, which was 67% of them last week. You want to see if he gets the same amount of touches. He handled 75% of the running back touches last week. Again, like Jay said, they was playing the Miami defense, so his 138 yards from scrimmage, that was was kind of expected. So we want to see what type of volume he gets this game. And then going forward, you can start talking about like RB2 type of stuff, but definitely would put him in the flex for this week.
Yeah, I'm at running back 21 after all the Thursday night players are out. I think the hope here is that he continues to be involved in the passing attack, right? Because I think the way the Chargers take on the Colts is it's going to be very pass heavy, right? Their secondary is beat up. Their defensive line is pretty good. Again, they're a top 9 run defense over the last month. They allow the 8th fewest fantasy points to opposing running backs. So their line is pretty good. The way you attack the Chargers defense is that secondary. So Herbert, who's getting QJ back, who had McConkey break out a little bit last week. Obviously, you still got Keenan Allen, Rondé Gadsden there. So that's the hope here, is that Kamani Vidal is involved in the passing game the way he was last week when he had basically an 11% target share. That's where you're starting him. But I agree with you, Lawrence. The running might be a little tougher, so he's more of a flex, high-end flex for me than he is a RB2.
Which is where I have him on my roster.
There you
go. In the League of Assholes, squarely in my flex spot. We're going to go shot for shot predictions that you feel real confident in. And
Thank you. That's exactly right.
They don't have to be bold predictions.
No, they don't have to be, nor should they be. Nor should they be if you're following the premise of the show. Listen, here's my first shot. Baker Mayfield finishes as a top 5 fantasy quarterback this week. 3 of the last 4 quarterbacks to face the Lions had at least 3 passing touchdowns. I think the Bake Show, especially when he gets Evans back, maybe Ibuka is out there as well. Sterling Shepard, Tez Johnson, what's up? Baker Mayfield, monster game coming in week 7.
Yeah. Okay. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who did not have a great game against the Bears, but had amazing usage. He got 17 of the 20 running back carries for the Commanders. I think he goes over 66.5 rushing yards today against one of the worst run defenses in football.
Yeah,
I like it.
I feel like we're going to talk about Rashee Rice a lot on today's show. Expectedly so. I'm going to go 7 receptions, at least 72 receiving yards. You combo that up, that's plus 194 for the good folks out there. Patrick Mahomes is averaging 281 passing yards per game, has 8 touchdown passes, only 1 pick in his last 3 games. He's thrown at least 37 passing attempts in 4 of his 6 games, and he's getting Rashee Rice back today. Yeah, I'll chalk that up right there.
If you're scoring at home, Lawrence taking the over on the receiving yardage.
Taking the over
for Rashee Rice. I'm going with the win game. Browns-Dolphins lowest implied game total this week is at 34.5. That number's dropped about 4. They're going to have 20-mile-an-hour winds, gusts up to 40. So I like Tua Tagovailoa, longest completion under 32.5 yards. I think it's going to be a difficult day to pass in Cleveland. So take the under.
I'm going to stay in that same game, George, and I agree with you. So yeah, it might be 40-mile-an-hour, gusty winds. It's going to be nasty and cold. I take the over on this. There's not going to be a lot of scoring here. But if there is one score, it's Quinshon Judkins. I say 100%. Quinshon Judkins has at least 100 rushing yards and a touchdown as a home favorite. This is the kind of weather that Judkins is built for, right? And again, with the bad wind, they're just going to run. They're a home favorite. He's not going to get game scripted out. 100 rushing yards and a touchdown against these Dolphins. They don't play well in cold weather at home. So, yeah, the original QJ, Quinshon Judkins. The better QJ?
QJ3 or whatever.
Yeah,
Quinshon's better than.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, 100 yards and a tutty for him.
Okay, I like it.
The Philadelphia Eagles, the least vibey 4-2 team in the history of the NFL. They get it right today. Coming off the mini-bye, I think they'll figure some stuff out. Vikings have been a terrible run defense this year. I think Saquon Barkley finally gets going on the ground, and the Eagles win as minus 130 favorites.
If not now, when? Over to Lawrence.
I'm going to go right off that. Look, Saquon has 1 game over 60 rushing yards this season, and his season-long run is only 18 yards. That's changing today. He's going for at least 104 rushing yards and a touchdown versus this Vikings defense who, in 3 of their last 4 games, led up 143 to Bijan, 99 and 2 touchdowns to Kenneth Gainwell, and 110 for the guy we just spoke about, Quinshon Judkins. Saquon Barkley gets right today versus these Vikings.
As everyone knows, when there's blood on the streets, buy the dip with Tirico McMillan. His number has dropped to 52.5 for receiving yards.
Have you ever been in the streets where there was blood? I don't like.
I'm a Chicago guy, of course.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't live in the part of Chicago where stuff like that happens. You live in the part of Chicago where like private equity bankers,
George is a
get picked up in private
Yeah,
cars.
of course, a Wrigleyville guy.
Yeah, stop it. Stop it.
One of the streets outside Wrigley
You ain't
Field.
from where Darren Rose is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's an investor term, and we're getting to Tirico McMillan. Good investment to buy the over on 52.5. He's hit this number 4 out of 6 games so far his rookie season. I think he's going to easily clear that today for the Panthers, taking on the Jets. So that's my second shot.
Nice.
You're up, Matthew.
Oh, so I am.
So that would be our second shot. Now we can do our third and final shot.
All right. Lord help me, I'm going back to the win game, the win bowl. But here's the thing. Dylan Gabriel has a little bit of a noodle arm. It's going to be super windy. So what does that mean? Short passes. And who's he looking for? Harold Fannin. No David Njoku in this game. And so Fannin, who had a 90 utilization score on a scale of 1 to 100 among all tight ends, 4th best last year. So top 5 tight end finish coming today for Harold Fannin. I think he gets peppered with a ton of targets as well. Again, Dolphins not good against tight ends. They like to keep it short, the Browns do. So Harold Fannin, top 5 tight end day coming today.
He might have a 90% target share today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my last one. This saddens me greatly because anyone who knows me knows that I love Chubby Magic. But I think the Chubby Magic runs out. It's the end of Chubb, the rise of Rico. Rico Dowdle goes over 63.5 rushing yards. I think they're going to run the ball a ton against New York. I think they'll have game script to do so. I'm going to need to see it to believe it before Dave Canales goes away from the guy who's been the best running back in football the past 2 weeks.
All right. Barry, you got Baker as a top 5 fantasy quarterback today. I got Caleb Williams as a top 4 fantasy quarterback today. Look, he's quarterback 7 in fantasy points per game, going up against this Saints defense who allow the 4th most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. They're tied for 2nd most TD passes allowed, and they've allowed the 5th most rushing yards to quarterbacks. So they give it up through the air, the ground, and we know Caleb Williams averages over 20 rushing yards per game, so he'll put that all together, and he'll be a top 4 fantasy quarterback this week. He's been playing well this year.
Caleb Williams, last 19 games, 29 touchdowns, 4 picks, over 4,000 yards. He's been a lot better than people have given him credit for because of how good the draft class has been with Jaden Daniels and Drake May as well. So, off of that note, I think it's going to be a big game for Caleb Williams. I had the Bears covering last week against the Commanders. I have the Bears blowing out the Saints, minus 4.5. The Saints on the road, 0-2. They've lost by 31-12. Their 2 road losses. I think the Bears are going to win by 10+ at Soldier Field to get to 4-2.
My goodness.
This and Ratty Ice, huh?
Yeah.
All right. You hear that, Rat Man?
Yeah, I'm also starting Ratty Ice because desperate times in the League of Assholes. There's the fit for Caleb Williams walking in, reporting for duty. The Bears trying to win 4 straight. Gorge, misspelling of George there, lives near the part of Chicago where his neighbor's poodle has his own bed.
Exactly
well
right.
Well played, Aloha Bricks. Well played. One of the regulars here.
And factually correct. No lies spotted.
Yeah, fair.
All right. I got the hosting part. We'll be back right after this. No, George, you just sit there. I got it. I'll do it all. I love it.
All right, we got this from Chad Graff. Patriots wide receiver Stephon Diggs cleared for today's game. Will play. He had been listed as questionable due to a chest injury. All systems go for Diggs. Good news for Diggs fantasy owners.
Yeah.
And this, the most important part of the show, if you're looking at the early slate of games, which guys are active, who is inactive. DeAndre Swift is a go. Jacoby Myers, inactive. Diggs, we mentioned, active. The other inactives weren't surprising. Garrett Wilson and Brock Bowers.
Yep.
So any interesting early reaction to those names? Basically what we expected based on how they were trending earlier in the week.
I think Diggs has a big game here. I think Swift has a big game here. Like, again, so if there's any concern, the fact that they're active is obviously very helpful. Listen, anytime you think this is, it's obviously going to happen, then maybe it won't. But Mike Vrabel has a reckoning here in Tennessee. I think Diggs, I know he was quiet last week, although he did have the touchdown called back, I believe.
Had a 50-yard bomb down the sideline.
That's what it was, called back.
Very suspect call. Yeah.
Hawkeye 07, full PPR, start 3, Keenan Allen, T-Mac, Diggs, Worthy, Judkins. Big matchup, number 1 team, and Pittsburgh defense boned me.
Well,
they got flaccoed.
Yeah, well, actually, and it's weird because normally it's the Bengals that bone you. It's usually the Bengals that bone you, but I guess in this way they did sort of bone you because they were so good against the Pittsburgh defense, Hawkeye. Listen, you're starting Judkins, you're starting Worthy, so now it's really the first 3 guys. Of those first 3 guys, I think I'm probably, again, I'm benching T-Mac with the Sauce Gardner. So it's Keenan Allen or Stephon Diggs here, guys, for me.
Diggs for me.
I think I'd go Diggs as well. So
I would
Allen
Diggs over Worthy.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Rashee Rice back.
Anyway,
like someone's got to their touchdown.
I just seen
favorites almost.
Allen's snaps have started to go down a little bit, and with the emergence of McConkey, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for the Chargers. So it's close, but. I think that's who I'm benching right there. So there you go.
Getting all your questions on #FF Pregame. Another one from the tube. Pick 2, please, from our buddy Ryan Staninger. Evans, Vidal, J-Mo, Wandale, or A.J. Brown. I wish I had ankles like them.
Although actually the wardrobe, because
you're not giving the people what they want.
I'm not giving the people what they want.
Covering up the ankles.
NBC wardrobe covered it up for today.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the same socks. A little hint for you guys, something to look forward to. I'm wearing the same socks that I'll wear tonight on Football Night in America.
Sneak preview.
A little foreshadowing there. Just
Word exclusive.
Exactly.
We feel honored.
There are murmurs that without the skin, people are flipping over to the Rams game, which I don't like at all.
This is gonna.
Do we have an answer?
Yeah, I think you're starting the first 2, believe it or not. I know it sounds insane that you were benching A.J. Brown, but honestly,
I don't think you can bench A.J. Brown.
No, it's Evans and Brown for me.
Yeah.
Brown didn't Brown go 6 for 80 last game?
Matthew, you're the go to the talent
I
guy.
know,
It's A.J. Brown and Monty Vidal.
But it's Minnesota who's so good against wide receivers so far this year.
Hurts has gone 280-plus passing yards last 2 weeks. Both losses, but they're starting to air it out a little more. John Marksman, DJ Moore, Chuba, or Waller?
I'll go with Chuba against the Jets.
Yeah, Chuba. Give us
DJ Moore's a little banged up. I'm nervous about the wind in the Miami-Cleveland game as well. Yeah, listen, I think here's what I would say. Starting Evans, going back to that other question, starting Evans, Vidal is the floor play because you could easily see A.J. Brown have a monster game, but he could also be like 2 for 20.
Yeah.
Right? Vidal's getting you 10 points.
Yes.
Like, just in terms of his, so, but if you need more upside than A.J. Brown is probably the one there. I just think this Eagles passing offense is broken.
Maybe. I mean, it's a very interesting game because they've had the mini bye.
Yep.
They've all talked like very vibey and all the when they get a microphone in front of their faces. Like we're going to learn a lot about the Eagles today because this is a tough defense in Minnesota, and I think
they bring pressure.
Yeah,
that's
high blitz rate with Flores.
Yeah, it's also like they play a lot of zone as well. It's confusing. That's where Jalen Hurts has struggled. He just wants man to man and chuck it down to A.J. Brown. So it's not even about whether they have success. It's about what they actually want to do. Like what kind of team they
well,
want to
if
be.
they win, because again, you mentioned, George, how he threw for 280 the past 2 games they've lost. So the Eagles go out here and stump a mud hole in the Vikings, and Jalen Hurts is like 16 and 19 for 155 and a touchdown. Then it's going to be like, oh, man, the passing game. But they just blew him out because Saquon, like I expect Saquon to have a big day. I expect it to be more running than passing. So it's just like, it's like it's like, what do we want here? It's just weird team.
We haven't seen
treated weird.
We haven't seen balance out of them. The pendulum has either swung one direction or the other, and Saquon not launching the first 6 weeks, I think, has been one of the biggest fantasy surprimes, given that he hasn't been dealing with any injuries. He's been healthy.
There was one game he only had 6 carries.
Let's get to our top. You have one more thing?
I was gonna get to waiver ads.
Okay.
I just always feel like sometimes I have to host for you because you're too busy. Whatever it is you're doing. Texting with golfers, checking your portfolio.
George Spieth, who are you starting this week? Top available running backs, more than 50% of leagues. We have 2 Cardinals on this list.
This is ugly. I mean, ideally, you're not starting either guy against the Packers. But Tajay Spears in negative game script against the Patriots could be interesting. Tyler Algier gets you 10. He gets you like 10 carries
I like
a game.
him more than anybody on that list.
Algier has the highest floor on that list.
Yeah, he's probably going to score a touchdown today.
Yeah.
50 yards, 40 yards, and a touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
That's what he does.
That's what he
Jay
does.
nodding along in agreement as we're going to go over to our wide receivers. And Kendrick Bourne just outside the top 30, but with Mac Jones, he's looked like a top 3 fantasy wide receiver. 142 receiving yards, not once, but 2 weeks in a row, Matthew.
24% target share over the last 2 weeks. And again, Juwan, we don't expect Ricky Pearsall to play tonight. Juwan Jennings is really beat up. It's George Kittle's first game back, but what does that mean with Mac Jones? Because we haven't seen a connection between the two of them. So I do think Kendrick Bourne. The Falcons have a really good secondary, but Bourne is somebody that could get some run tonight. How about Trey Tucker? No Jacoby Myers for the Raiders today. He's not going to play. So Trey Tucker and no Brock Bowers, obviously. Trey Tucker's their number 1 wide receiver in a game where they should be trailing quite a bit. And then Sterling Shepard. Even with Evans and Ibuka back, Ibuka will play some slot, but I think that game's a bit of a shootout here. Carson Wentz could be okay in a revenge game against the Eagles. He moves more than he gets credit for.
Yeah.
He's a little bit more mobile than he gets.
He can give you 20 rushing yards.
Yeah.
A scramble or 2 here or there.
Cade Otton again for the Buccaneers. Had a nice game last week. Mason Taylor is literally the only guy they have in that Jets passing offense. Panthers, by the way, allow the second most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. I like Michael Mayer as well, the Brock Bowers out. All right, here's our desperation plays. I'm going with Luke McCaffrey. No team has allowed more fantasy points to opposing wide receivers than the Dallas Cowboys. So Luke McCaffrey and Chris Moore, kind of take your pick. McCaffrey's been scoring more touchdowns. Moore, I think, will get more receptions. So more to the safer pick. McCaffrey, the higher upside pick of my desperation plays.
Yep, Sterling Shepard for me. Even if Evans and Ibuka do play, I think that there'll be enough work for Sterling Shepard. The Lions are missing their 2 starting corners and their 2 starting safeties in this game. Very high total. I think there'll be plenty of yards to go around through the air.
Lawrence, before we do your desperation play and mine, let's get to this question. Ved FF.
Happy Hour regular. Yeah, he made his debut on the list, I think, on Friday.
Need the best 2 flexious plays. Bourne, E. Wilson, Shepard, Tucker, Addison.
All right, so Emmanuel Wilson is only if Josh Jacobs is out. So you sort of have to wait there. But to me, I think it's Kendrick Bourne and it's Jordan Addison.
I'll go Addison.
Jordan Addison and Kendrick Bourne are my 2 answers there, unless Josh Jacobs is out. And then I would put Emmanuel Wilson, honestly, over either one of the wide receivers.
Yeah, I would have.
Jordan Addison is a really good one. The Eagles are dying to find another cornerback to play alongside Quinyon Mitchell, and it is very, very, you could see it a lot.
And there'll be a lot of intention, obviously, on Justin Jefferson. So, I think if Jacobs is out, that might be my answer. I'd rather go against the Eagles with Addison than Bourne against the Falcons secondary.
What about Bourne or Addison then?
That's what we're saying. I think Addison over Bourne. I think.
It's tough.
I'll go. Yeah, because Addison is going against the weaker defense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say Addison has a higher floor and Bourne has a higher ceiling, given that Bourne could, I mean, he's been going off for 140.
He's been going off.
And he got a great on-field rapport with Mac Jones.
He does.
Like that got to be said, too. They got a very good connection.
Kittle coming back, you think it would change at least the volume?
Somewhat, a little bit.
Yeah. From Daryl Jost, Trey Tucker, Travion Henderson at flexed.
I'm going with Trey Tucker. I mean, he's literally the only guy in a game. Again, they're going to be throwing a bunch. Travion Henderson, I don't know if it's because he's so bad in pass protection or whatever. It just seems like they will not use him. And so it's going to be the Ramondre Stevenson show. You know, it's probably going to be 3 yards a carry, but he's going to get a ton of work in a game where they should be winning and winning quite a bit.
Let's close we got another question. Okay. And this one coming from Ron Scurry. Pick 2. Io Manor, Cup, Pacheco, Emmanuel Wilson for last flex 1 point PPR.
Well, it's Wilson if Jacobs is out.
It's Wilson if Jacobs is out, but I think it's probably Pacheco. Again, hopefully he gets some run, and I guess Io Manor, I don't like any of these. I'm nervous about that Titans offense is such a disaster.
I would go
Cup.
Alec, Io Manor, and Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
Cup
I think. He's playing against Houston, which is such a good defense. Yeah. I think it's Pacheco and Io Manor unless Jacobs is out, and then I would put Jacobs over Io Manor. But you're not going to you're actually not going to know that answer, right? Because that Green Bay plays in the afternoon, and you're going to have to make the decision on Io Manor now because it's.
I would probably just go Io Manor and Pacheco.
Yeah. Jacobs doesn't generally miss games. He's usually somebody that plays through whatever.
Yep. Okay. Now closing the loop on the desperation plays.
Yeah, I'm going to go Tez Johnson. And the reason he's a desperation play, he did play 72% of the snaps last week. That was with the injuries to Ibuka. Obviously, Mike Evans was already out, Godwin and them. But he caught 1 of 3 targets, and one of those was a 45-yard touchdown. So that is like peak desperation. And it gets more desperate depending on if Ibuka and Mike Evans play, because I think that third guy would probably be Sterling Shepard, the veteran.
And I'd say part of the reason with the Seahawks passing game, JSN is just he's hoovering basically all the target share. Cooper Kupp hasn't materialized really as a wide receiver too. A.J. Barner, their second-year tight end, the Michigan man, the last 2 weeks, 10 catches, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns, the 2 best games of his career. So he's starting to take off. If you need a plug-and-play tight end, he's the guy. They
like A.J. Barner there, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, they have Arroyo. They have some other guys there, but A.J. Barner, I agree with you. He's starting to take off. I have A.J. Barner in a Dynasty League, which I'm very happy about.
There you go.
There you go.
Proper shot time. These are all plays that you can make on DraftKings. Follow along, and we're going to kick it off.
You
never take the run football.
Checking the deflate gate on the ball.
Yeah. Where's the ball security?
Hold on, Swift, go ahead.
Nice
start. Nice.
Hold on, I'll clap that.
Flick of the wrist. We're closer. We are closer.
All right. First down. That counts.
Got a first down.
That don't count. That's like having the ball in your hand and getting it swiped out by the defense.
It went in. It counts. Matthews doesn't count because it missed.
Because it missed. That's exactly right. Yeah,
that's why it doesn't count. The judges ruled.
I've spoken.
Okay, so with that, we'll kick it off.
I'm curious. I just have a question for the regulars. Do any of you guys work with people you actually like? What's that? Will you just let me know what that experience is like?
That would defeat the purpose of working.
No, but you go to work and you're like, oh, the person that's next to me in my office or my cubicle or anything like that. Like, what's it like?
Learn how to throw and we'll like you more.
Yeah, so a good one here.
I actually don't believe that. I believe I could learn to throw and it would not change anything.
The regulars chiming in, Ryan Oswald, mathletes, not athletes. I think it's the 2 people who missed right there.
Hold on now. I'm 2011 Peyton Manning over here. I'm going to get closer and closer every week.
That'd be your Halloween costume.
It is going to be my Halloween costume.
Okay, Cam Scannaboo, rushing yards, 52.5. Seems like a low number, Jay.
It does, but I'm still going under because of the respect for the Denver defense. I don't think that the Giants are going to have game script. Tyra Tracy back as well. I feel like this is going to be one of those 15 for 48 type of games for Cam Scannaboo.
Saquon Barkley, rushing and receiving, 98.5.
Like I said earlier, I think he's going to get this Justin rushing alone, so I'm going over. The Vikings have been giving it up in the running game. So Saquon is going over that number today.
Lawrence took the over on this next number at 65.5. Are you tailing him, Rashee Rice?
I am. Give me the over on 65.5 for Rashee Rice. Look, he's been over this number in 6 of his last 7 healthy regular season games. Raiders 6th most yards allowed to opposing wide receivers. I think this is a big game for Rashee Rice. I think they're going to want to welcome him back in a big way.
We played this a couple weeks ago. Drake May passing yards. We both took the over then. It was 228.5. Now it's 229.5.
Gonna go under on Drake May because the Titans, they have a very poor rush defense. I think that the Patriots, game script will get out of hand and they'll just run the ball in the second half.
Combo number, Daniel Jones, passing yards and rushing yards. Lawrence, 247.5.
I'm actually going to go under here. The Chargers have allowed this twice. It's been to Mahomes and to Jaden Daniels. And in those games, Mahomes ran for 57. Jaden Daniels ran for 39. Jones' season high, surprisingly, in rushing is only 27 yards. So he's not really running to his full capability. Plus, he hasn't had this number in 2 straight games, so I'm going to go under.
Breece Hall, this is a B-side line here. Rushing attempts, 17.5.
Yeah, I'm going over. Like 22 carries last week, 82% of the team's running back touches over the last 2 weeks. I don't think they want Justin Fields throwing it. So I think it's going to be a big Breece Hall game. Give me the over 17.5 rushing attempts for Breece Hall.
This is what I'm curious about. Harold Fannin, rushing yards, 40.5, Jay.
Receiving yards?
Got to be receiving yards.
Receiving yards.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. That would I'd definitely be curious if it was rushing yards. Receiving yards.
Okay, I'll go under on the 40.5 rushing yards, but over on the 40.5 receiving yards. Yes. I understand crazy wins, et cetera, but Dylan Gabriel, all he does is throw short passes over the middle of the field. So I think if anyone is going to get yards in the pass game, it's going to be Harold Fannin. So I think he'll get at least 41.
This one I will read correctly. It is receiving yards, 58.5. Chris Olave, Lawrence.
You know, he's only hit this number twice this season. However, Spitler Rattler know what his job is, and that's to throw to Chris Olave. He's had double-digit targets in 5 or 6 games this season. The Bears have allowed this number to the top receiver 2 of the last 4 games. So I think Olave will get enough volume to reach that number.
We had to be Commanders compliant for Matthew. Jaden Daniels, passing yards, 225.5.
I'm going under. You know, he's been under this number in 2 of the last 3 starts. He's got, I mean, Chris Moore is his best wide receiver, and as is, and then Luke McCaffrey, Zach Ertz is less than 100%. I think this is a big Jaden Daniels uses his legs. I think they try to run the ball quite a bit. So again, he's been under this number 2 of his last 3 starts. Give me under 225.5 passing yards for Jaden Daniels today.
Been a good fantasy season for Christian McCaffrey, more with his receiving work than his rushing work. So his rushing yardage prop, 63.5, Jay.
Yeah, I'm going to go over here. And the reason why is this Falcons defense is built on speed, not on heft. They've not been a great rushing defense. They don't have really big bodies on the defensive line. So I think that Mac Jones may struggle in this game. I think McCaffrey will get his on the ground.
James Cook got going against the Falcons in the second half. They just stopped doing it.
Yeah, perplexing. And the other sideline, the number's 15 yards higher, 78.5 for Bijan.
This went up a couple yards. I'm going over, and you might say, "Oh, Lawrence, Bijan had that long 81-yard touchdown." Yeah, you're damn right he did. But even without that, he had 18 carries for 89 yards last week. And San Francisco, they're beat up on defense. Already was without Nick Bosa. Now, without their heartbeat, their best player, All-Pro Fred Warner, unfortunately, the rest of the season, I'm going to go Bijan over on 78.5.
Their heartbeat on the offensive side of the ball, George Kittle, who makes his return, receiving yards, Matthew, 51.5.
Yeah, I'm going under this number. No team has allowed fewer receiving yards to opposing tight ends than George Kittle. We know the connection between Kittle and Brock Purdy. We don't know really the connection between Kittle and Mac Jones here, as so it's a little bit, there's some unknown here. It's a tough matchup, so I'm going under.
And you said no team, you meant to say against the Falcons.
Sorry, what I said, the 49ers? Yeah. The Falcons have allowed the fewest receiving yards to opposing tight ends, correct. The Falcons, I apologize, that's right. But anyway, so a tight end facing the Falcons and George Kittle, I think goes under 51.5.
If you want to get this going, DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL, new customers. This is one of the best promos I've seen that they have. Bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app, use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
Wait, whose crown is it?
The crown is yours, Matthew.
I I was hoping that was the case.
Oh my God. Draco. How about Drake May?
Draco.
Yeah. Darake Maye.
Drake Maye, hour 2 of fantasy football pregame on the other side of the short break.
Man, Christian, he's like the best dude ever, man. Like, it's gonna be really fun playing against him, like, and seeing him like pregame and chopping it up, like, because he's been killing it this season, and it's like super fun to watch. And I'm still studying him to this day, so like, you know, for me to like get to talk to him, it's gonna be pretty cool.
He's gonna have more yards.
We gotta wait and see. Yeah.
I watch him move, watch him make a lot of these plays, and you know, it's inspiring. So he's definitely somebody that when you watch him play, any chance you get, you can try to emulate some of the stuff he does.
Getting to watch two of the best running backs in the NFL tonight. NFC collision. Bijan Robinson, the Falcons 3-2 take on Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers, who are 4-2. Primetime. It all kicks off 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. And with that, we are past noon Eastern, noon Blues time. Which guys are driving you to drink? And we're going to get to your questions throughout the second hour of the show. Hashtag FF Pregame. Matthew, as you are going through your pile of papers there, do you know which player is really driving you to drink?
I think it's got to be Justin Fields and these New York Jets. I mean, it's just so in theory, he should be great at Justin Fields. He has a floor because of the rushing. He's so good. You know what I mean? And it's the Panthers. But then last week was just an abomination. Last week looked like if I was quarterback in the NFL. Just he held the ball too long. He looked like a deer in headlights. He had 45 yards passing. I mean, he took 9 sacks. It was awful. So in what should be a no-brainer start is now suddenly a question mark start. So, yes, I am starting Justin Fields, but I'm also drunk.
Okay. All right. Well, Justin Fields last week had statistically one of the worst games in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
I think Bo Nix was only slightly better than Justin Fields last week. Bo Nix got a pass for last week because of the story about Aaron Glenn, because of Justin Fields, because of the Jets offense. Bo Nix has not been good this year. He has regressed in a huge way from the back half of his rookie season. He has a lower passer rating in QBR than Spencer Rattler from his own draft class. I'm drinking for Bo Nix, who needs to get right, because the guy that we saw in the second half of last year was like challenging Jaden Daniels for Offensive Rookie of the Year. We haven't seen that guy at all this season.
You know who else got to get right? My man, Dylan Gabriel. That's who got me drinking here. But he's young, only 2 starts, but 56% of his passes he completed in his first 2 games, only a little over 4.5 yards per pass attempt. This is the definition of dink and dunk. We're very appreciative that he's keeping a tight end and George Fan and fantasy relevant. But what about the receivers, dog? What about Jerry Jeudy, and you got Isaiah Bond out there? These 2 speed guys who have combined for 10 fantasy points per game in the last 2 starts for Dylan Gabriel. And you know, he's going up against Tua today as favorites. This is that's a quarterback who they say had a noodle arm too. So it's the battle of the noodles today.
For sure.
So who's going to win the battle of the noodles?
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
The noodlers.
Good news is there's no wind today.
No wind at all. Weather's perfect.
Perfect quarterbacks to have.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
not impacted by the wind. They can only throw it 5 to 8 yards.
Like
I would not start him today, but I do like Isaiah Bond as kind of a deep league stash.
Listen, people, when that quarterback situation gets a little changed up, then you could fire up Jeudy again. Then you could start feeling a little better.
Do you think we see Shedeur Sanders today?
One of my shots was almost we see Shedeur Sanders today, but I don't think so. Kevin Stefanski's got to hold on to that a little bit longer.
I think he'll be decent. It's Miami. He'll be
exactly. Give him a chance to play against a defense that isn't good, and then go back to it. Because, look, again, still a rookie, still only 2 starts. So we got to be fair.
Yeah.
I think we also need to be fair to Cam Ward, who's had a terrible start to his rookie campaign. I'm a huge Cam Ward fan. 3 TDs, 4 picks. Looking at every #1 overall QB since 2016, how they did their rookie year. Cam Ward at 25.1 QBR. That's second worst to Jared Goff. Cam Ward's QBR is worse than Will Levis last year. I still think he's going to be a good pro, but he's putting up historically bad rookie numbers through 6 games so far. Anything jump out to you, Matthew?
Well, yeah, I mean, he has not played well, but he's also had a string of really tough defenses. His offensive line hasn't played well. Oh, by the way, when they fired Brian Callahan, his father, the legendary Bill Callahan, one of the greatest offensive line coaches in NFL history, was just like, I'm peacing out as well. So good luck, Cam Ward. Calvin Ridley's been in and out of the offense. He's out again today as well. So it's just. It's hard to say.
He hasn't been set up for success.
He has not been set up for success. This is sort of my argument again with Justin Fields, right? That, like, with your Bears, had Justin Fields been given the opportunities that Caleb Williams been having, maybe he still would have been bad, but he would have at least had a shot. He doesn't have a shot right now. And Cam Ward we like Io Manor, but like as a number 3.
Right.
We talked about this with Connor on Friday.
Develop with Cam Ward as the team's not their top receiver, but the top receiver is out.
So it's just a disaster. The whole organization's a disaster. It's awful. It doesn't seem to have any.
Mike Vrabel licking his chops. He can't wait.
Mike McCoy was a failed offense coordinator in Arizona. Anyway. God bless you, Titans. Tighten up. Look, here's what I would say to all the Titans fans. Here's what I would say to the Titans. If we can just give me we can just go to camera 1 here real quickly. Here's what I would say.
Oh, no, not camera 1.
Yes, camera 1. Listen, Titans fans, you know I love you. Tighten up. Here's my suggestion. Instead of watching the game today, head out on Broadway and just get hammered at some awesome country western bar, because there's a million of them. Broadway is the best. Up and down Broadway is one of the 5 greatest places in America. Nashville is an awesome city. It's amazing. Have you ever been?
I have.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, and also the great thing is you can walk out of the stadium and it's like 20 minutes.
It's right. It's literally across. You go across the street. You go and you walk up Broadway. So that's what I would do. you will have a much better time. Literally in any bar you go in, like there's somebody singing who's awesome.
So get blind drunk.
Yes.
So you don't even know what happened in the Titans
game.
It doesn't
matter.
Complete afterthought.
Matter. You're just listening to somebody cover Eric Church songs.
Yep.
It'll be great. It'll be awesome. It's like, oh, hey, Jason Aldean's bar, whatever it is, whoever you care, whoever you're into. Hey, Dirks Bentley, hey, let's go.
Why not?
Whatever. Lots of bars out there. There you go.
I guarantee you.
Go listen to some Toby Keith. Somebody covering Toby Keith songs.
Player who didn't crack your top 10 in the quarterback ranks, Cam Ward. No
Correct.
chance. He
None.
sniffed the top 10. A player who is there and who gets his best weapon back.
I think I'd rather Dylan Gabriel than Cam Ward today.
Fair.
I mean, like, that's just give you an idea. Okay, but here are my rankings. You see it right there on your screen. These are all guys you're starting. We've already talked about Justin Fields just very quickly. I think Dak Prescott has a monster game today. Commanders are a bottom 5 pass defense over the last 4 weeks. 4 of the last 5 quarterbacks that face Washington have scored at least 18 fantasy points. Dak's going to have himself a day.
Indeed.
You think Jalen Hurts, Jay, keeps airing it out like he has the last 2 weeks in losses?
My best guess is, though, the Eagles have talked about how they want to get on the same page on offense and find an identity going forward. I suspect the identity might be Saquon Barkley. But we'll see with Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's going to keep airing it out. I think it's going to be more leaning into the run, Hurts, play action, deep shots off of that, which is fine. Jalen Hurts has been, number 1 quarterback in fantasy before in run-heavy offenses. But I'm interested to see. I'm just very interested to see what they decide on as their identity, because this is a real gut punch game against the Vikings. They lose this 4-3. All of a sudden, looking very dicey.
Well, what's interesting is, here's what will happen. Because I agree with you. This is a fascinating game because we're going to sort of find out the mettle of Philadelphia. Like, if they lose this game...
They'll still probably win the division.
That's right. They're 4-3. They're fine. Yeah. They're 4-3 because that was a bad loss to Washington, and either Dallas or Washington will lose today. Yeah. And so, and I expect the Giants will lose today to the Broncos. So, ultimately, they'll still be in first place, and they'll still be fine.
Yep.
But... knowing Philadelphia sports talk radio, that town will go on. It would melt. It's going to melt down if they lose this one, and the panic will set in. And that's not an organization that deals with panic well, at least traditionally. They're good when they're rolling. When they're rolling, they're good, and they're good at blocking out the noise. This will be this game, and then the week after will be fascinating to see how they react to everything.
100%.
Yeah.
After week 1, I mean, we were thinking, okay, how good the Eagles were going to look early in the year, and then the panic around the Lions, and that narrative has completely settled down.
Jared
Goff,
everything is week to week.
Yeah, everything's week to week. And Jared Goff on the season, Matthew, 14 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's been playing phenomenal.
He's been ridiculous, and it's helped with the fact that his defense is so banged up, and so he's getting into these shootouts. You like this matchup at home against Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers are always a pass funnel defense. They play good run defense. You attack them in the secondary. And over the last 2 weeks, how bad this secondary has been, the Buccaneers have allowed at least 340 passing yards in each of the last 2 games. You're like, who have they played? Well, they must have played some awesome people. They played Mac Jones. They played Sam Darnold. And by the way, both those quarterbacks are playing well, but still, you don't expect 340 plus from either one of those guys as well. So Jared Goff should have himself a day. I'm a QB 11. Lions have the highest implied team total on the Week 7 slate. Jared Goff, I think, has a big one on Monday night.
Lawrence, I'd argue Michael Penix has been about as inconsistent as any starting quarterback early in this season so far this year.
And you could probably make that case for fantasy and real life. I think last week against the Bills, he played his best game as a pro, considering the other team had Josh Allen at quarterback. He played his best game, but was only quarterback 20 in week 6, right? This is the thing. He's got 2 top 12 finishes this year. In both of those games, he has multiple touchdowns, and he's had at least 295 yards passes. So what that tells you is he's a guy you could start in Superflex, and he's a streamer in 1 quarterback league. So that's how I feel like that's how you have to approach Michael Penix going forward, because they could win it. You saw him win versus the Vikings, not needing to pass. They leaned on the run. Versus the Bills, they started off hot in the pass game, but then they kind of tailed off that a little bit as well. So that's kind of what it's looking like for Penix rest of the year.
I think the issue with Penix is, so they let him throw with the game on the line on third, and he almost threw a pick 6 to win the game, right? And I think that with how good their offensive line is, with the fact that Bijan Robinson looks like one of the best players in football, Algier is obviously very good too, and the defense looks so great, I think this is just going to be one of the lowest pass volume teams in the entire league. Now, Penix can still get his with touchdowns and with feeding Drake London, but I think the ceiling for Penix is a bit diminished because they're just just going to run the ball so much.
Well, and it's a numbers game, and if you add up the total carries between Algier and Bijan, you're looking at 30-plus every week. Some weeks it could be 40-plus.
They are getting Darnell Mooney back, so that should change something a little bit because he's more their deep threat, more so than Drake London is.
Yeah, the guy who can really stretch the field for that Falcons passing game. You were opening your mouth. Were you going to say something?
I was just about to say that Matthew Stafford has now thrown 4 touchdowns passes. He just threw a 4th touchdown pass while sitting on my bench. But Lawrence, I can't. I mean, my 2 starting quarterbacks in our league are Jaden Daniels and Drake May. Yep. Like, I'm not benching either one of those guys. I can't. Yep. But, Stafford is just sitting on my bench, not producing fantasy points for anyone. Well, I tried to offer him to Lawrence, who needs quarterbacks.
No, I don't need any quarterbacks. I'm winning.
Lawrence is winning. Lawrence has got, who do you have? Bryce Young and Michael Penix.
Look,
a juggernaut.
Just throw me between those 2 guys each week, 2 touchdowns between them both, and I think I'll be.
Lawrence is the Atlanta Falcons. You got Jonathan Taylor on his team. His team just runs the ball.
Jonathan Taylor
this
and
week
James
is tough,
Cook,
because I'm on the hot seat going against 0-6 Matthew with James Cook.
You can't be the one.
I don't want to be the one, but right now it ain't looking good because I had DK Metcalf and he didn't do anything, and Kenneth Gainwell, so I'm in trouble here.
We'll see.
There we go, Matthew. Travis Hunter just cashed our pickup line from Friday over 40.5 receiving yards.
Let's go.
Something good to come out of the Jags today. Thank you. The only good thing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Running back ranks 1 through 10. Of course, Jonathan Taylor, Bijan are both going to be there. They are 1 and 3, sandwiched in the middle. CMC, Josh Jacobs, the one to monitor. Will he play or not at number 4 at Arizona? Would be a good matchup if he's able to suit up for that one after Genti rounds out the top 10. We go to 11 through 20. JCM at 15, and I mean, you couldn't think of a better defense to go up against than the Cowboys, Matthew.
Yeah, Cowboys have allowed 85 or more rushing yards to an opposing running back in 3 straight games. So Jay talked about it earlier in the show about the workload just continue to be impressive. Tough game against your Bears, bad fumble, but 18 touches last week against Chicago, 78% of the team's running back touches. And as we've talked about, again, with so many injuries to the Commanders' passing game, passing game participants, that JCM should get a lot of work. By the way, he's gotten 100% of the Commanders' goal line carries each of the last 2 weeks. So when they get in close, they're giving it to JCM.
Questions from the regulars, and we got one chiming in here. Chat, very active today. Hashtag FF pregame. Dan K, full PPR. Need 2, please. Judkins, Sutton, or Keenan Allen, roll regulars, the hashtag.
Yeah, I mean, I get that Judkins is obvious, right? We've talked about it. We think they're home favorite. It's bad weather. They're just going to give Judkins a lot of work against that brutal Miami defense that just got lit up by Kamani Vidal last week. So now it's really Sutton or Keenan Allen. And for me, guys, I think it's Courtland Sutton. I get it that he was quiet last week, but home against the Giants, that secondary is a little bit suspect. I think I'd rather him than Keenan Allen, because at least Keenan Allen plays some slot, and that'll be Kenny Moore.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's an easy one. Yep.
Should have played alt lines on your Travis Hunter back there.
6 for 85 and a touchdown.
First touchdown for Travis Hunter.
Career touchdown. Travis Hunter drinks for free. I had to start him in some leagues. I had to do it. So I'm doing the Vince Carter meme yes.
Let's go. Your colleague, our new colleague, Vince Carter.
Shout out to Vince Carter, man.
Traveler looking clutch. They're only down now 28-7 with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Not over.
We're keeping it running back ranks 11 through 20. Quinshon Judkins, and it's going to be a lot of Quinshon Judkins early and a lot of Quinshon Judkins often for the Browns.
Yeah, funny trivia question. Do you know who has the highest rushing prop of anyone this week in the NFL on DraftKings? It's not Jonathan Taylor, it's not Saquon Barkley, it's Quinshon Judkins.
Let's go.
In the low 90s, been bouncing around now. That is somewhat a product of the wind, the fact that it's just going to, the conditions are going to lend themselves a ton to running. But still, like Quinshon Judkins,
even
when they're like 6-point dogs, he's been set at like 80.5 rushing yards. Like he's getting work. I think the defense is good enough to keep all these games in a run script close enough for Cleveland. So yeah, Quinshon Judkins, like the rest of the way, I think he's a legit RB1.
I agree.
Yeah.
21 through 30 for the Pats. Ramondre Stevenson. How much confidence do you have in starting him week to week? You got Trevion right behind him at 24 and 25.
Yeah, I think it's about the matchup here, right? No team in the NFL has allowed more rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs than the Tennessee Titans. So Ramondre Stevenson, who gets a majority of the goal-to-go rushing attempts each of the past 2 games, 83% to be exact, I think they can be in scoring position often against this Titans defense. I think when they get in close, they do give it to Ramondre Stevenson. I think Ramondre Stevenson gets into the end zone tonight, or today, I should say, and that may come up a little bit later in the show as well. So Ramondre Stevenson scores a touchdown. I believe that. I'm his running back 24. Doug K says, which 2 should I start? Ramondre Stevenson, Kamani Vidal, or Tirico and McMillan, guys?
I'll go the first 2.
I go the last 2.
Right. I'm with Lawrence here. I think it's the running backs for me. Jay? You want to break the tie?
I think Ramondre is the number 1 guy I'm starting with this group, actually.
Yeah.
Just because of the favorable matchup against the Titans, who have a terrible run defense and a pretty terrible team overall. So they should be scoring.
2. So then it's free, and then it's Kamani Vidal or Tirico McMillan.
I would go Vidal. They have identical yardage props on DraftKings. I think they're both set at 52.5, and Vidal's got the better chance of scoring a touchdown, I think.
There you go. You see that, George? 3-1. 3-1, Doug K.
We'll see who's on the right side of history.
We will indeed.
In Week 8. Continuing with our running back ranks, and this has been a completely different Isaiah Pacheco pre-injury, post-injury. 19 games pre-injury. 15 of those 19 games, he had 15-plus carries.
Yeah.
His high this year, Lawrence, is 12 carries in a game. He hasn't been the bell cow.
Yeah, we talked earlier this week on the Love-Hate show. I love Kareem Hunt. Even though Barry has him ranked lower, it's about Kareem Hunt getting those goal line carries. But to Isaiah Pacheco's credit, he's looked better these past few games running into the second level. He's averaged over 5 yards per carry in 2 of his last 3 games. And so when you look at his rushing prop, 43.5 versus Ashton Genty's, which is 59.5, seeing it just how we know Ashton Genty and the volume he's going to get versus Pacheco, I don't think that's all that different. So maybe Pacheco he'll have to score from like 20 or 30 yards out, but this is a team he's going against in the Raiders that he could possibly do that against. So I'm not saying you start him and just think he's going to go off, but if you have to, there's definitely worse situations out there like the Cardinals backfield. I'd go Pacheco over guys in the Cardinals backfield this week.
Okay. Yeah, there are always worse situations in the NFL. Wide receiver ranks 1 through 10, and we already had wide receiver 1 overall last year pop off on the Thursday night game, Jamar Chase. That's why we're not seeing him here. He's already played. Amon-Ra would be number 1, JSN 2. Devontae Adams, smartly, Matthew, had him number 3, and we're seeing a 2-touchdown game out of him.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. All these guys are obvious starts. You may be surprised to see Olave that high again, but just getting so many targets. Lawrence talked about him earlier from so many targets, obviously from Spencer Rattler.
Continuing to bang the drum.
I'm very nervous with A.J. Brown at 10. I'm just being honest with you. I'm very nervous. You see, I got Evans there at 12. So right there. But as we move down the list, obviously I've got the Chargers in the middle of the pack there. Rashee Rice comes in at 17. We've talked about him a lot. I just think you have to start him again. I think they make an effort to get him the ball. I think the Raiders secondary is so beat up and just, frankly, not good. So this all the stats you want, but just hottest quarterback in football, Mahomes, his best wide receiver in a great matchup.
Yeah, and if you think they go out of their way to get Rice the ball in the end zone in particular, which I think they'll have scope to do, as I think they'll be in the red zone a fair bit, he's plus 130 anytime touchdowns.
I like that.
With Ladd McConkey, is he back to being the clear-cut number 1 for the Chargers, or is it more week to week given the depth they have at wide receiver?
I mean, Quinn Johnson's back, which hurts, but I think that as the season goes on, I think that Keenan Allen's role will recede a little bit and Ladd McConkey will be more emphasized. I think Ladd probably turned the corner, game-winning play against the Dolphins. Like, he's just the best player. He's the best receiver on the team. He's the most talented guy. He's the one guy who really beats man coverage. And so I think particularly as the Chargers get a bit healthier on the offensive line, I think we'll see Ladd light it up more and more. And even though the O-line isn't healthy today, it's a very favorable matchup against that Colts secondary.
Cruising down to 21 through 30, where we got a question here from our guy, Aloha Bricks. We hear a lot from Aloha Bricks.
Yeah.
Golden, Iomanner, Ladd, or Charbonnet at flex, or even sprinkle in Mason Taylor as an option.
It's one guy. It got to be Ladd McConkey.
Yeah. That's a McConkulous question, Aloha Bricks. Come on, stop it. Slide McConkey. You know,
I think he just wanted his voice to be heard.
Yeah, he knows better. Come on.
He just wanted to hear you say Aloha Bricks again.
Yeah, exactly. Aloha Bricks had a strong week. He was on the top 10 of the regulars this past week, which we do every Friday on
Fantasy Football Happy Hour. He's like Georgia. He's basically the Georgia of the regulars.
Yeah,
so always going to be in the
always
top
in
10.
there. So is it right? Exactly. Doesn't matter who he plays. Yeah, exactly.
Guy who
Aloha
did not
Bricks
have
is
a
always
strong week at 21 through 30, Cortland Sutton, disappearing act, had one catch for 17 yards last week. Was that a total fluke, Matthew?
I don't know that it was a total fluke. He's a little bit inconsistent, but what I will tell you what it isn't is indicative of how I like him this week, right? I mean, he was covered by Sauce Gardner, who did a nice job, and that whole game was so ugly. But prior to last week, Sutton has scored basically 18 fantasy points in 4 of his first 5 games. And you like this matchup against the Giants. They're allowing the 4th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. They allow the 2nd most yards on deep passes. And obviously, when they chuck it deep, when Bo Nix takes a shot, it's usually to Cortland Sutton. So you see it right there. I'm at wide receiver 21. And so I have him as a low-end wide receiver 2, high-end flex this week as well. So have a nice day. Very pleasant.
Very strange. What's going on here?
Yeah.
What's the profile picture as well?
The chopper?
A chopper.
He's
misspelled
mad.
Vidal.
That's what it is.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah.
Imani Vidal or Cortland Sutton half-point PPR.
To me, it's Sutton. To me, I prefer Sutton. I will say this. There's more variance with Sutton. Vidal is, I think, a floor play. Like, I think Vidal is getting it 10 to 12 points with a shot at a touchdown. But Sutton's got a chance at like 18 to 24 or, maybe 7. But again, he's had a prior to last week, he'd basically gotten 18 points a week.
Yeah, here's the thing. Have a nice day. Are you content with mediocrity? Or do you want to take a shot at greatness? Because Cortland Sutton can score 20 points, I agree. So I'd go with Cortland Sutton.
I'm going to sneak in a bonus question from the bartender. Kittle, first game back, or Fannin in the weather?
Kittle. It's George Kittle.
It's close. It's actually
It's close.
No, it is because I think Fannin. Like I'll tell you right now, real quickly, on my tight end ranks, just to give you an idea of how sort of close it is. So I have both guys within. I have Kittle at 3 and Fannin at 5. So I have Kittle higher, but it's close.
Sure,
that's a real question.
Yep, but it's George Kittle.
It's George
it's
Kittle.
A real
there we
question.
go.
That's why he.
All right,
asked.
bartender.
Yep.
There we go. That might be my favorite nickname of the regulars. It's pretty good.
Yes.
The bartender.
There was the question.
Yeah. Somebody out there needs to be like the bar backler. Yeah, you heard me.
I like that.
The bar backler.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Last wide receiver, Jameson Williams, coming off a solid week. Another guy who's very erratic in that Lions passing attack.
That's what it is. He's boom or bust. This was week 6 was his 2nd top 12 finish. Both of those games, he scored a touchdown and had a season-high 6 catches. But with a guy who averages 4.5 targets per game, that's too rich for my blood in the flex. So I will say that versus a Bucs team, the Bucs love getting in these shootouts. So that's kind of where you could have the argument for him. But otherwise than that, I would probably look for better options.
This is good on the tube for Matt Schmutz. Flex half-point PPR, Luke McCaffrey, Tony Pollard, J-Mo, or Matthew Golden?
Well, I think, look, Tony Pollard is the floor play, right? He's going to get some work, but I don't love the matchup, and he's splitting time with Tajay Spears. So we just talked about you just heard Lawrence talk about how the Buccaneers love to get into these shootouts, right? We just talked about that. Well, Jameson Williams is going to be part of that shootout on Monday night. So I think it's probably Jameson Williams for me coming off the big game.
I was about to say, with all that being said, given the names you've got next to him, I would go Jameson Williams here, too.
Jameson Williams for me, too. Huge pass funnel defense in Tampa.
Matthew, you teased some of your tight end ranks 1 through 10. A name you didn't mention, Tyler Warren, who's making a case to be tight end number 1 overall at the end of the season.
Yeah. Apparently, our graphics people want to call him Jake.
Maybe that's his middle name. Somebody get the Wikipedia.
And they think they swapped.
T-Ferg.
Yeah. So anyway, Jake Ferguson is our tight end for Tyler Warren is our tight end too, as you see it right there. He's had only 1 game this entire year with less than 12 fantasy points. Or less than 11.9 fantasy points. This is Tyler Warren. Josh Downs is out for this game. I don't think they want any part of A.D. Mitchell. So it's going to be just Pittman and Tyler Warren as well. No tight end has more receiving yards per game than Tyler Warren. So in a decent matchup against the Chargers, they're not great against tight ends. I think Tyler Warren just has another monster game. He's my number 2 tight end of the week.
Looks like Jake Warren's a backup power forward on the Westchester Golden Rams.
Okay.
He averaged 1.9 points per game last season.
Fair enough.
Bam. Okay, from Wow. We got another question here. Full point PPR, Scatterboo, Tyler Warren, JMO, Stevenson, T-Mac. Pick only one. A 5-pack platter here.
Jake Warren.
Jake!
Yeah. I think so. I think he's probably got the best chance at a touchdown. I think he's got the highest floor. Stevenson also has a really good chance at a touchdown. Tirico McMillan, we like Tirico McMillan.
Scatterboo gets some receiving work.
Yeah, he does. I'm going with Tyler Warren, though. I'm going with Tyler Warren. Of all those people,
consistent.
McMillan is always, potentially could get shut down by Sauce Gardner. Bryce Young could be terrible. We like McMillan. I think Tyler Warren's the safest guy there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Bro, they are really trying to run it
Jake
up on
Warren.
the Jaguars right here.
Yeah, I know.
They're trying to throw another touchdown pass here.
To be fair, it was third down.
Yeah.
Third down that's the 3.
I think it's like 4 minutes left, but they got to roughen the passer, so they're going to get another 4 downs.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
Lawrence doing some play-by-play
5 touchdown
here.
passes sitting on my bench.
Let's see if they get Blake Corum this touchdown here.
That's very upsetting.
Lawrence
It is very
Collinsworth.
upsetting.
Yes.
We got another question. Why don't we get to that?
Okay.
This is from Maria Monroe. Help. Fannin, Shepard, or Charbonnet as a flex. Kittle is my tight end, half-point PPR.
Devontae Adams, 3,
Wow.
yes.
5 tutties for
Devontae
Matthew Stafford.
Adams gets his 3rd touchdown. Devontae and Matthew Stafford, to your point, has 5 touchdown passes. Again, sitting on my bench, good times. I think it's Fannin, Maria. I would go with Fannin. Again, Shepard, we like the environment of that, but with Ibuka and Evans back, it's hard to really know exactly. And Charbonnet, of course, tough matchup against Houston, splitting time with Walker. So I actually think it's Fannin who's going to get a lot of work and have a shot at a touchdown in this win game. This win game. Yeah.
In our tight end ranks, we got Fannin. Matthew had
That's
him
so
at
annoying
number
because
5.
there's no way you could bench Drake May, especially against Tennessee.
No,
you
it's the
can't
right
bench
call. It's the
Jaden
right
Daniels.
call.
I know that's so frustrating.
You
with the
should trade him
consequences.
away in our
I
league
tried
for
to. You
something
just-
less than James Cook.
I benched him.
You have no other players that's worthwhile.
I benched
Isaiah
him for
Pacheco, right?
Jaden Daniels and Jared Goff in another league.
Yeah, of course.
Pacheco right there
you
looking
go.
you in the face, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm not trading you Matthew Stafford in a Superflex league for Isaiah Pacheco. Ridiculous.
Let him get some
Matthew
use.
Stafford now right in MVP kind of mix.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like 17 pass touchdowns, 2
Yes.
picks. They're 5-2. Yeah.
This 5
He's having a
touchdowns.
massive season.
He's been amazing.
Okay, 11 through 20 tight end ranks. Matthew, state your case for Mason Taylor.
Yeah, he's the only guy. He's all they got. If you're Justin Fields, what are you going to – oh, wait. Do I want to throw it to Josh Reynolds? You going to throw it to Alan Lazard? What's he doing?
Don't throw it to Josh Reynolds.
No, of course. He's had at least a 25% target share, 2 of the last 3 weeks. Carolina, by the way, allows the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. And, I just sort of throw last week out because it's just so brutal.
Sure.
So brutal. All right, here we go.
Flip cup time for anytime touchdown parlay.
All right.
Here, there you go.
Yeah, watch out for the electronics.
Correct. Safety first.
Wait, once again.
Cheers.
Down.
Cheers, down, up.
Cheers, down, up.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
Down, cheers, up. So wait, hang on, wait. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
This is bad.
There we go. Rattle. Like Inception, DiCaprio.
Pretty sure Lawrence won. I was
neck
second.
and all.
I was last.
And then I was second. And then Jay defeat you?
Yep.
You were in last place?
You were defeated.
Yes. George.
I'll admit defeat.
But I will say, smoother than normal. Smoother than normal.
Right.
As a.
work on
All
it.
right, so who's in your touchdown parlay today? Lawrence? Anyone that might actually score a touchdown?
Well, you know what?
Lawrence, you only pick one guy all year to score a touchdown. touchdown.
You know what?
Two straight weeks we have nailed the touchdown parlay except for Lawrence's pick.
I know.
It ain't because of me. It's because Emeka Ibuka tore his hamstring off. Look.
Lawrence is allergic to picking guys who score touchdowns.
The truth is,
And then
This is actually an intervention. This is an intervention.
Wow.
No, hang on though. Real quickly though, we did hit the touchdown parlay last week because thank you to our friends at DraftKings, they gave a touchdown insurance. They gave out bonus bets because for everyone that had a parlay, if they got rid of
renamed
a
it
league.
Lawrence Insurance. So they just,
Anyway, all right, here we go.
So I'm going back to the Bucks for a receiver that's not going to get hurt, but is coming back from being hurt, Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield has thrown multiple touchdowns in each game this season except one. And you look at their implied team total, 23.5 points. No Godwin. We'll see about Ibuka. Whatever. It's Mike Evans. He's back. He's going to get a touchdown in his first game back with Baker Mayfield.
I like that. This won't be a surprise if you didn't hear it. Ramondre Stevenson, again, no team in the NFL gives up more running back rushing touchdowns than the Tennessee Titans. They've given up at least one rushing touchdown to a running back in every game this year. So who's getting it for the Patriots? It's Ramondre.
All right, Quinshon Judkins for me, as I mentioned, highest rushing prop of any running back in the NFL. They're not going to want to throw it in that win.
And the Dolphins are bad.
and I got Cam Scatterbo coming off a monster week. I know it's a tough defensive matchup. He gets all the high leverage carries inside the 5. They're bound
this one,
to.
George. I think you've screwed us.
That's the one. If we don't hit this parlay, just remember it's going to be George.
I'm like 5 for 6 this year.
Okay.
Much love for the dog pound. Browns at home. They knocked off the Packers earlier at home.
Yeah, they
tough.
did.
Going to be an ugly, windy game in Cleveland.
The George are killing us.
We're back at it, Week 7, fantasy football pregame. QB Cam Ward getting loosened up in pregame, and it begins to pour rain. Clearing expected, though, before kickoff in Nashville. You think the change in any way can be the positive? It can't be worse going to Mike McCoy, or can it?
Look, I quote my good friend Jay Croucher. Variance is good. You never know. Like to your point, it can't get any worse. I mean, probably. Tighten up. The question will be whether a new coach will want to bail on Cam Ward. Probably not.
I think he's too talented to bail that early.
So far, it hasn't been good.
I would say if you were starting Cam Ward, you'd need infinity beers this week. We're doing beer goggles. This is a scale of 1 to 5. What would it take for you to start these players? Matthew, we'll begin with Tony Pollard.
3 beers. I need to be on my way to being sloppy drunk. This is when I start texting Jay late at night, being like, "What's up? What are you wearing? You want to roll through?" Look, Tony Pollard, of the 53 qualified running backs in fantasy points per touch this year, Tony Pollard is 51st. He's now in a timeshare with Tajay Spears, and he got the Patriots in what should be a game where he's got negative game script. By the way, only one team in the NFL allows fewer rushing yards per game than your New England Patriots. He's my running back 28 this week. 3 beers for Tony Pollard. I am not starting him in any league I have him in.
Spin it over to the Pats. Jay, Travion Henderson.
4 beers for Travion Henderson. I just don't need to see it before I believe that he's actually going to get a meaningful amount of work. He's been unplayable in fantasy so far. The only reason it's off 5 beers is because it's the Titans and they may give him some extra work in a blowout.
Yeah. There's a chance Tony Pollard falls in the end zone. That's why I went to 3 beers. But yes, same thing.
Stephon Diggs, Lawrence.
Honestly, only 1 beer. Even though he finished outside of the top 24 of his 6 games, Tennessee has allowed the 8th most receiving yards to wideouts, and I think what he's done with Drake May recently is more indicative of what he'll do down the line. So just 1 beer for Diggs.
That was Pats at Titans. We're expecting New England to blow them out. Next game, the Saints, who have just 1 win on the year at Chicago. Alvin Kamara, how many beers, Matthew?
2 beers. Look, concerns, right? He hasn't scored at least 13 fantasy points now since week 2. So it's been a while since he's had kind of a big Alvin Kamara type game. He's just not getting that PPR scammery that we saw last year. It's all going to Chris Olave. That said, your Bears allow the 6th most fantasy points to opposing running backs, George. And it's been 3 straight games now that Kamara's had at least a 19% target share. So while they're managing his touches, they are starting to use him a little bit more in the passing game. So I'm as a top 20 play this week. 2 beers. I think he's more of a floor play than a ceiling play, but at this stage. And I'd want to make sure I had Kendry Miller, but they keep insisting they're not trading him. So Kamara, 2 beers.
Bears secondary, a lot of holes in it. Rashid Shaheed, how many beers, Jay?
Yeah, Rashid Shaheed is just the ultimate do you hit on 16 because he's going to get 5 or 6 targets, and it's just whether he comes down with the 50-yarder. Now the Bears not a particularly terrifying defense, and I think the good thing about Shaheed is he's found a bit of a floor where he can still give you, the 4 for 40 even if he doesn't get the big one. So 3 beers for Rashid Shaheed.
The current state of affairs: 3 beers for Rashid Shaheed. DJ Moore, how many beers is it going to be? More or less
3.5, because he was at the hospital for his injury. Now he's playing, and he's the number 2 receiver on the Bears right now. New Orleans allows the 8th most fantasy points per game to receiver, but DJ Moore doesn't have a game with more than 6 targets this year. That's scary because this is a guy who used to get 1,100 yards every single year, but for now, it's just not the case. 3.5 beers for me.
Giants on the road in Denver, going to the Mile High City to face the Broncos. Jackson Dart, rookie quarterback, tough road environment. How many beers?
Yeah, look, you guys know I love Jackson Dart, and I think the season prospects on Dart is really, really exciting. I think he's ultimately going to finish as a top 12 fantasy quarterback. But for today, 4 beers. I'd want to be blitzed. I would want to be canoodling with Jay Croucher kind of blitz, right?
Another reference.
Look.
Yikes.
Only one team
a lot of fond memories from Buffalo.
Buffalo, that one night in Buffalo was kind of magical. We had a second night, and we rekindled it in Dallas. The
Big D.
1,000 for Big D is
illegal in Texas.
All these stories you got about Buffalo makes me never want to ever go to Buffalo. We do a show in Buffalo, I'm out.
Yeah, okay.
You'll do it from Rochester.
What I will tell you, though, is that only one team in the NFL allows fewer fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks than the Denver Broncos as well. By the way, they're also really good against rushing quarterbacks, right? They're giving up under 8 rushing yards per game to opposing quarterbacks, and that includes games against Justin Fields, which you saw last week, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones. Those 3 guys combined for 36 rushing yards. They just don't give up a lot, and so much of his fantasy value comes from rushing. So my QB 25, 4 beers, I'd want to be blitzed. I'd have to be drunk and not caring to start Jackson Dart today.
You're me in the League of Assholes starting Bo Nix. How many beers would you need?
3 beers for Bo Nix. It's still a favorable-ish matchup there. Touchdown favorite. I think that he'll be able to get 1 or 2 passing touchdowns. Still gives you a little bit of value with his legs. He's still in Sean Payton's excellent scheme. So not feeling good about it, but feeling okay enough to only need 3 beers.
J.K. Dobbins has been the primary ball carrier for the Broncos. How many beers would you need, Lawrence?
I'll say 3. The Giants have allowed this number. They've allowed 60 rushing yards in their last 4 games, 0 times. But he does have double-digit carries in every game this season, but he's going up against a tough front 7. And this over-under is under 40 points, so I don't love it. for J.K. Dobbins, 3 beers.
Low number for sure. Last game, Eagles at Vikings. Jordan Addison, is he going to pop off? How many beers?
2.5 beers. Like, I want to be a little buzzed, but, still feeling like pretty much in control. Like, he's had 2 games this year. He's had at least 15 fantasy points in both games he's played. As you've talked about, Lawrence, like Mitchell, I think Mitchell's likely to be on Justin Jefferson in this game, and that's an area where you attack the Philadelphia Eagles is whoever Quinyon Mitchell is not guarding, right? I mean, their second corner has just been a struggle as they try to find somebody other opposite Mitchell to slow down. So Jordan Addison, I do think, can be kind of interesting here for Carson Wentz if Mitchell, as expected, shadows Justin Jefferson.
TJ Hawkinson going to continue to get going. How many beers?
2 beers for TJ Hawkinson. Like, what are you going to do? You're really going to bench him? You probably spent, you drafted him like a top 5 or 6 tight end. So then you probably got to start him. It's been a little underwhelming. Feel better, though, with Carson Wentz at quarterback than J.J. McCarthy for Hawkinson's purposes.
And finally, Devontae Smith.
Fair, isn't it?
No, I'm just saying, like, I agree with you, and that's a pretty bad indictment on J.J. McCarthy with the Vikings, who they used that top pick on him, and they let Sam Darnold walk out the window, and Darnold's killing it in Seattle. So anyway,
Devontae Smith, probably actually one of my favorite players in the league. But for today, I'm going to need about 3.5 beers to start Smitty. Minnesota allows the fewest points, fantasy points per game, 2 receivers. And then you look at his targets the last 4 games, just like a seesaw up and down, 9, 2, 10, 5. So very inconsistent with the targets for Devontae Smith. So I think they get it going through the run game, the Eagles do. So 3.5 beers for him.
Photo finish. This is the most competitive beer goggles we've ever had.
Okay.
Competitive.
12, 11.5, 11. Everyone separated by a half a beer. Jay Croucher, Ozilla by some, had the most beers there. Full 12 packs. So we go pickup lines time.
You guys are ice cold.
This has been ugly. Jay, you're a professional gambler. You're 1 in 5 on bets cashing.
Yeah, heard a sample size, George? You want a season left, my friend.
Horrific.
Thank God.
Combined 2 and 9.
Yeah.
Barry's been
I have gone home with each of you multiple times, and I've been disappointed.
And
to be perfectly honest.
We're 1-0 together.
A lot of times people say things are a lock in betting. I never say that, but this time, I'm still not going to say it. However, I feel really good about it. Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt. See, Barry, I heard you talking about a little bet on the break. Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt, 70 yards. That's at plus 101.
Yes, sir.
I didn't see that earlier, so I went up to 80. Right? That's at plus 150. Now, if you're scared about that little measly 10 yards, just know that he's hit the 2 of the past 3 times he's had double-digit carries. Dallas has allowed 80 rushing yards in 3 straight games, and quite frankly, they've allowed way more than 80 yards, but we'll go 80 to be safe. We've seen the snap percentage go up week by week for Mr. Bill here. Mm-hmm. We've saw the running back touches go up week after week for Mr. Bill. So 80 rushing yards. Mr. Bill.
I like it.
I'm going to have Bills if I don't cash this one here. So Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt, 80 rushing yards at plus 150.
All right. Okay.
I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts over 36.5 rushing yards. We talked about this Eagles identity, what it's going to be out of the mini-bye. The biggest change year on year with this Eagles team in terms of the play calling has been just no design runs for Jalen Hurts. They just have not been running him. He's been scrambling a little bit, but no design runs. And the offense has fallen off a cliff without that. They need the threat of Hurts' rushing. And I think that is going to be what they arrive at. It's a very confusing defense in Minnesota. A lot of zone, a lot of exotic looks. What does Hurts do when that happens? He takes off. So I think the combination of the scrambling and more design runs, Jalen Hurts' first 4 weeks, he averaged 47 rushing yards. Past 2 weeks, as they've had 2 losses, he's averaged 8 rushing yards. He just hasn't been running, and I think they'll get back to running against the Vikings. Jalen Hurts goes over 36.
They also blitz a ton, and I could see him tucking and running.
Actually got me a little parlay with Jalen Hurts 30 rushing yards involved in that. So I like it.
So I actually like both these bets, but I'm gonna go with Jalen Hurts rushing, because I've already got a lot of money and hope and desire on Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt, on Bill. I can't put even more. Like I already got too much on.
They call you the Lattler.
Diversify the risk.
Yes, I've diversified. I already have an actual bet on JCM, and I've laddered it up. I think his line is 66.5. I have the over there. I have 70. I have 80. All plus money, 1,000. Just keep going up for sure. I do think JCM has a big game, but I'm going home with Mr. Croucher, with a Crouchler.
Johnny Dangerly saying the moral of the story, do the opposite. And he's taking the Hurts under. So we got dissension from the regulars. A direct shot
Johnny Dangerly.
from Johnny Dangerly as Hurts now takes the field. This could get interesting.
All it takes is that one 20-yard run that he gets every now and
Let's go, Jalen.
We'll see. Now the regulars bringing it, Jay.
Oh, no, he's wearing the same shoes I'm wearing right now. They're pretty heavy, so I don't know.
Okay, last call time. Still to come here, Week 7 Fantasy Football Pregame. Bar Trivia still awaits. Brent De La Paz, Misery Loves Company, hashtag FF Pregame, watching the miserable Jaguars offense puke 35-7 the final. I think that's the best way to describe the Jags' performance as they get completely blown out in London, just like last year when they lost in London 35-10 to the Bears. So they have not played well making the trip across the pond.
It was brutal. The Traveler was not great today. Stafford was awesome. 5 touchdown passes. Again, he doesn't get anything with his legs, so he needs a lot of touchdown equity here. Obviously, Adams was unbelievable. Nice game for Travis Hunter.
That's the takeaway.
101 yards, a touchdown.
Yeah. So they were able to get him the ball. And then Brian Thomas, you'll see he was wide open in the back of the end zone and just slips.
Yep.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter, 14 targets. That is the most fantasy noteworthy thing. And he also looked the part.
I
don't know why they didn't do this the first 6 weeks of the season.
We got to clap it up for Trevor Lawrence for that.
Are we overreaction or underreaction? Jags, are they frauds at 4-3, or is this just one real bad game against a good Rams team?
I think they're the most definitively average team in the NFL, the Jags. I think it's like an average offense, average defense. I think that they'll end up going 9-8 or 8-9. And be on the edge of the wild card race as my Colts take the AFC.
So this isn't going to be a big fade where they go 6-11, 7-10, and
no. I mean they beat the Texans, they beat the Chiefs.
I take it back. It wasn't Brian Thomas that slipped. I think it was Diami Brown, actually.
Okay.
Sorry.
Someone slipped.
No, someone slipped.
It
wasn't Brian Thomas. It was Diami Brown. I was positive. So sorry. We're catching a little bit of the game at the corner of my eye there. So anyway.
Who needs to watch it when you're getting
breaking down like that.
this?
I will be able to watch it back before Fantasy Football Happy Hour tomorrow morning at noon Eastern on the Tube.
Jags type.
And of course on the Cock. What?
To the good for Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Bar trivia standings.
Yes, let's talk about that.
To the very good.
Let's talk more about that.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. Let's talk more
Jay,
about that. Now
10
that
games under 500. Matthew, 10 games over 500.
Now that I got George here in person, I want to thank you because last week I went into this 1 game under 500. I was now 5 games under 500, so I appreciate that. But I will claw my way back.
No, I went 7-6 for you my week, I thought. Oh, no, I got real bad. I just went 7-6 this week. I misread it.
So now I'm 1 game closer to Matthew. So
I'll take back the fifth.
No, I appreciate the challenge because that's exactly what I wanted to do was be further back.
I wanted to be an obstacle for you to overcome. Mission accomplished. More receiving yards. Chris Olave, Romo Dunze. We got 3 minutes to go.
Dunze.
Chris Olave.
More receiving yards?
That was the question.
Olave.
Okay.
More passing yards. Tua or Dylan Gabriel?
Tua.
The two noodles.
Dylan Gabriel.
Noodle 1.
More total yards. Tony Pollard or Ramondre?
Ramondre.
More fantasy points. Ashton Genty, Xavier Worthy.
Genty. More
receiving yards. The Jet, Justin Jefferson or A.J. Brown?
Jefferson.
A.J. Brown.
Justin Jefferson.
I'm liking this next one. More total yards. Rico Dowdle or Breece Hall?
Breece Hall.
Rico Dowdle.
The Dowdler.
More fantasy points. Bo Nix or Jackson Dart?
Bo Nix.
Bo
Nix.
More passing yards. Justin Herbert or Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones?
Justin Herbert.
I agree, Justin Herbert.
Herbert.
Couple minutes to go. More rushing yards. JCM or Javonte Williams?
Bill.
JCM.
Javonte Williams.
More fantasy points. Jordan Love or Josh Jacobs?
Jordan Love. Josh Jacobs may not play.
Yeah.
We had to give you guys one freebie.
Well, that happened to us last week, and we all 3 lost on that one. I forgot who it was. He ended up playing.
More total yards. Bijan Robinson or CMC?
Bijan.
That's Christian McCaffrey.
Wow.
More passing yards.
You're playing from in front.
I'm going with what I think.
More passing yards. Jared Goff or Baker Mayfield?
I got to go Bake.
I'm going to say, Jared Goff.
And finally, more receiving yards. JSN or Nico Collins?
JSN.
Nico.
And then, Jay, if you were going to give odds on the matchup Lawrence and Matthew Berry, how would you set the line there for the League of Athletes?
Why aren't I? Well, Lawrence,
We're playing each other.
Yeah, I know. But
What? It needs to be a live update.
Is he like minus 280 here, or what's the line?
Minus 280, about a 75% chance to win.
Is this going to be the week, Matthew?
What?
It happens?
No James Cook though.
I don't know.
I had DK Metcalf and Kenneth Gainwell. That might be out of pick right now.
My team always finds a way to lose. It doesn't matter. Somebody wins early.
That's the beauty of it.
You're the Jets. You're
Aaron
Glenn.
You never know.
I might be Aaron Glenn. It's true. It's been a very tough. The fantasy gods are getting me back for my 2 years of talking trash in a massive way. All right, that music means it's closing time. I have to go home, but you can't stay here. For Lawrence, Jay, and George, I'm Matthew. Go get yourself a win. We'll see you tomorrow for Fantasy Football Happy Hour noon live on YouTube. Peace out.